In this lesson, we will develop different mark-making techniques that can be used with adding details to architecture. The techniques we will cover are pointillism and crosshatching. Pointillism is adding tone using dots, and crosshatching is adding tone using lines. An artist who is famous for their architectural etchings is Giovanni Battista Piranesi. He created many detailed drawings of historical buildings and a series of imagined architectural spaces. The detail in these buildings is mostly rendered with careful cross-hatching. Before you start your drawing, it is important to complete a tonal bar. This will improve your awareness of your materials. The two techniques we will use will be pointillism and cross-hatching. Pointillism is creating tone by using small dots. For the dark areas of your tonal bar, you can fill in the section and then add small dots on the border to give the impression that the whole area is filled in with dots. Cross-hatching is adding tone using lines. Here, you can create tone by overlapping lines in different directions or using different thicknesses of line or a range of density. For example, lines closer together will create a darker tone. To start with pointillism, I find it easiest to map out the dark areas and fill these in. It may be useful to use a pencil to mark out areas. After this, vary the use of tone by spacing out the dots. If you have a range of pens, you could try to use different thicknesses to add to the gradient effect. Be patient with this technique. It will take time, but it will be worth it. This video is sped up, and the actual time taken was about an hour. For details where you are a bit unsure, it is easy to start with outlines and then using the dots to fill in areas around the line. The more detail you add, the more small mistakes will be hidden. When adding tone, try to imagine where the shadows will be. Feel free to use some creativity and add details and shadows to individualize your work. To avoid smudging, you can use a clean piece of card under your hand. This is a useful tool for any drawing. While doing this, I was constantly using my other hand to press down the paper to prevent creases. Here you can see the final result of this pointillism drawing. Your next step could be to create your own outline of a building and develop your use of the technique. What do you like about the overall effect of using pointillism? Next, We will try using crosshatching. When using crosshatching, it is beneficial to use a range of pen thicknesses, as you can alter your use of tone with the depth of the line. If you don't have these, do not worry. This is not essential. You can create wonderful cross-hatching drawings with a single pen. If that is the case, you can fill in areas to give the illusion of a range of pens. To start with, in this image, I use a 1mm pen to draw broader lines to indicate areas of shadow. After doing this, I used a thinner 0.5mm pen to add curved lines. This was to indicate the structure of the indent in the pillar. I left areas of the page blank to indicate highlights. Creating contrast by intentionally leaving areas blank will make your art stand out more and look more realistic. After completing this step, I added detail in the rest of the pillar with the same concept. For longer lines, I used the ruler. However, the ruler can easily create smudges. Don't panic if this happens. As you add more detail to your image, you will cover up any smudges. For shorter lines, it is easier to do these freehand. Once I completed the main details, I started adding areas of shadow over the details. Even I found this a bit scary, as drawing over my work I was worried I would ruin it. Adding the tone with overlapping cross-hatching to create shadow improved the overall effect. When adding shadow, don't forget to alternate the different directions and density of your line. If you want to follow along, continue by drawing section by section and pausing the video. Each pillar took about 1 hour to draw, so do not rush. Here is the final cross-hatching pillar drawing from the video. For your next step, you could decide which technique you would like to continue for a more extended piece. How could you individualize your work with these techniques? Some ideas could be to mix and match these processes, or try using a different drawing tool, such as colorful fine liners or pencils. Let me know and share your results.